Last week, our own Jacksonville Today reporter Will Brown sat down with Amanda Vandervort, president of the USL Super League, to discuss the launch of Jacksonville's new pro soccer team, Sporting Club Jax. Let's hear that conversation.
We are joined by Amanda Vandervort. She is the president of the USL Super League, who has joined us in studio. Hello, Amanda.
Hello. It is a delight to be here. Thank you.
So thank you for your time. It is a good time in Jacksonville for professional soccer. Sporting Jax has announced that they will have not only a men's club, but a women's club and share the same crest. And I wanted to start by asking you the importance of a men's and women's club launching together and equally, and what that means for the Super League, in your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, what an opportunity here. This announcement was really special. We had so many wonderful people from the community and from the leadership and ownership group, of Sporting Jax here in the room, and to hear, their intentions with this club to be inclusive, to lift every voice, to be part of Jacksonville in a really authentic manner, I think was really special to see and hear and live that in the room. So as that translates into our professional, sporting environment on the women's side with USL Super League, which launches next fall, 2024, and in the future, actually, Jacksonville will come into the league in a subsequent year when they're ready, in addition to the USL Championship, which is our men's club, have those launching together on equal footing is, I think it sets an intention. It puts that intention for equality between these two clubs at the forefront. And for us, that's really, really important at the USL and at Sporting Jax.
Speaking of Florida and USL and the USL Championship and the USL Super League, Jacksonville's not the only location with a club in the USL Super League. What is it going to be? What do you think it will mean to the state that there are multiple clubs in Florida, which is a hub for youth and college girls and women's soccer?
What an amazing state for soccer, from youth to pro, and we're really proud of our pathway. We think a lot about that development pathway for young girls to one day become pros or watch the pros or work in the pros. But let me set a little bit of context. The USL Super League will launch in the fall of 2024 with at least 8 clubs across the country, and we announced those 8 clubs back in May, plus 5 additional clubs that'll come on board when they're ready, and Jacksonville is one of those 5. So we look across this national footprint all the way from Spokane down to Tampa in 2024. Certainly having Tampa Bay and Fort Lauderdale, which we just announced a couple of weeks ago, in the league creates so much opportunity and synergy for Floridians, to celebrate professional soccer right here in this state, and having Jacksonville as a piece of that puzzle is really, really powerful. We know this state is a strong competitor in professional sports, and professional women's sports is certainly a part of that.
And during the club's announcement, you mentioned the delta between the opportunities for men's professional soccer in this country and women's professional soccer in this country. I wanted to ask about that because I saw on Instagram a professional club in the country was mentioning some of the people on the staff, and I recognized one of the young people on their staff as a former high school goalkeeper from right here in Northeast Florida. And you mentioned the delta in terms of the number of men's clubs and the number of women's clubs, and how this could provide opportunities not just on the pitch, but also in terms of sports management, in terms of coaching badges, in terms of coaching careers. Just describe how the Super League will provide opportunities for women in sports.
Yeah, certainly. And shout out to all the goalkeepers, by the way. I know
Love
that's
us.
something we share, right?
Yes.
On stage I shared this, but I think an important thing for us to think about in terms of the opportunities that are available for women today. There are 12 professional women's soccer teams across the entire United States today of 360 million people, right? On the men's side, there's over 100 professional teams, professional opportunities, for men to play, work in, and watch the sport they love. So with the addition of the Super League now, we'll start to see more opportunities for women in more communities than we've ever seen before, and really bringing professional women's soccer closer to home for so many more people.
And with the Women's World Cup, it was earlier this year. Mm-hmm. So many in this country were disappointed. We all were. But they played their hearts out. But the United States is considering applying to host the 2027 Women's World Cup. The 2026 Men's World Cup is already coming here. I've heard from so many different folks in the game that this is a time to really introduce people to soccer because so much of the world is coming to these shores in the next few years. How much of an opportunity is this for the Super League to really establish itself when the eyes of the soccer world will be on the United States in the years to come?
I mean, soccer in this country is going to explode alone from the 2026 Men's World Cup, and then adding the women just creates more visibility for the game. So we have actually submitted our application. U.S. Soccer just in the last week officially submitted our application for the bid along with the Mexican Federation. So, hopefully in 2027, we as the United States and Mexico have the opportunity to showcase really what equality looks like. Right? We've set the standard in 2026, and now those same stadiums, those same or similar stadiums, depending on how the footprint turns out, but those same communities can really elevate and showcase, what women truly deserve.
When it comes to women's soccer and women's sports, I think of so many of the creative ways that some college programs have marketed their teams. And you've worked in engagement with Major League Soccer, and you've worked in marketing for years. Just describe the importance of trying different ways to engage an audience, to encounter and interact with women's professional soccer.
Well, I think it's about understanding what the audience wants. What do fans want out of their experience coming to a soccer game? And then it's up to us to deliver on that. But the question is, how are we getting that information? How are we engaging people, whether it's through social media, whether it's through surveys, whether it's through events like this, and asking the question, what is it you're looking for in your women's professional soccer environment? And then we create and build those structures for them to come. So you build a stadium environment where everyone feels welcome, where everyone has a space that satisfies their needs. Maybe it's the type of food they like to eat, or maybe they want to bring their kids to the game and you create a space for their children to play, or maybe it's people who need certain accommodations to enjoy the game in an authentic manner, and creating those spaces is something we're thinking a lot about, and creating a truly professional environment for our women to be elite athletes at the highest level.
And we have so many of those athletes from right here in Northeast Florida. I wanted to ask you, as a member of the goalkeeper union,
yeah.
I mean, what does it mean what do you think it means for this region to be able to have so many elite players playing at high levels at the amateur side? What do you think it will mean for Northeast Florida, and then to a different extent the state of Florida as a whole, that there are these opportunities and pathways in the years to come?
Well, let me describe the USL ecosystem and why we're thinking a lot about that pathway. So we've talked a lot about the Super League here today and the launch of Sporting Jax as a USL Super League team. We also have the W League, which is a pre-professional league that plays from May to July, and is a place for those top-level collegiate athletes to play in the summer months and ensure that they're getting year-round training, which is something that we're competing with the rest of the world for, to make sure that our college athletes, even in those summer months, have high level of training with high standards for their environments. So, yeah, certainly, listen, the talent in this part of the country, in this part of the state, is unbelievable in the collegiate ranks and even coming up through the youth. And so to create those pathways in those spaces is something we're very deliberate and intentional about, and excited to bring it right here to Jacksonville.
And this is something that is fascinating to me, but I wanted to be able to ask you, women's sports overall are seeing massive growth in audience, in engagement. The salaries of athletes are going up, whether it's team sports or even individual sports. What do you think it means, and how important is it that there are more opportunities for women in sports, whether it's on the field or off?
Yeah, well, I think you raise an important point. I think we've analyzed the data upside down, inside out, and backwards in women's pro sports, and we can firmly and confidently say that today it's investing in women's sports. Yeah, it's the right thing to do, but it's a great business investment. And you know that your return on that investment will come leaps and bounds in the next couple years, and especially if you're investing for the long term. So right now we are seeing sponsorship interest, media interest, and of course player and fan interest growing exponentially. And so it's such an exciting time for the future of our sport and for those who can see that future. And I think the people that are investing in the USL ecosystem and the Super League and everything that goes into that to create those elite environments and great fan experiences are the ones who are really going to drive not only soccer here in Florida and the United States, but really delivering a product that the rest of the world can look and aspire to as well.
Amanda, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This is great. Appreciate it.